Welcome everyone back. It's been a while since I made a video, so I thought another one of my videos would be a play-for-play profile of my Evil Hero deck in the year 2016. So we're gonna kick things off with over here. So I run a Neo-Spacian Grand Mole solely because it could be used for Dark Gaia, or it can be used to screw around with the opponent, send their monster back to their hand, and, chain, I guess. Goblinberg I use in tandem with any monster that I can basically special summon, like Goblinberg, Summoner Monk, and I can't really find it right now, but here it is. Kage Tokage, I guess it's called. So you can summon Goblinberg, special summon another level 4 monster, then special summon Kage Tokage. Sparkman, I really just run because, I actually don't know why I run him. Lightning Golem, that's why. Yeah. I also run different Dimension Capsule. I'm going to be adding in the Gold Sarcophagus later on when it arrives, so I'll have two ways of bringing either Dark Calling or Dark Fusion back to my hand. Card Trader, if I don't like one of the cards in my hand, boom, I can just shuffle it back into the deck and then draw one more card. It's good if I don't, if I don't feel like my next card's gonna be crap. Torrential Tribute, I can use as Wild Heart because he can't be affected by card effects, or trap effects, to be more specific. It could also actually be used with Dark Fusion because, actually, no, it cannot. That's weird. Well, actually, it could be used if someone doesn't know the effect of Dark Fusion, that allows it to be to allow my monster to not be destroyed by monster effects, card effects like spell traps. And it's pretty good for that reason, that they activate Torrential Tribute and then they think, ooh, I'm going to get this Dark Gaia off the field. Even though he used Dark Fusion with Torrential Tribute. Boom! Completely screwed over because now their monsters are destroyed and mine are still intact. I run at least one Compulse, just for the sheer reason of it can't really be a hero deck without a Compulse. Or at least my friend thinks so. I've actually been trying to take that out for a while, and I failed miserably. But once Gold Sarcophagus comes in, I'll have a reason to. I run one Beast King of the Swamps. People are telling me to run the other one. I don't know exactly what the other one does, but as soon as I find out, I will order it, probably. I used to run Goddess with the Third Eye. A lot of my friends thought it was Black Witch of the Forest, which is why they kept saying, she's banned. But I searched it up, and she's not banned. But I still took it out nonetheless. Grand Horn of Heaven, just to, stop a big monster from coming on the field, screwing up my entire fusion thing. I run a Wild Heart to fuse with Avion, who I actually have not drawn in a while, so it'll be fun to see if I can duplicate them at any given point without actually having two of them in my deck. As you can see, I run Parallel World Fusion as well. That's mainly to get any of my fusion materials from my evil heroes that, when I use Dark Calling, it banishes them. And then I can just get at least one of them back, because if I fusion for Avion and Wildheart, I can get Avion and Wildheart back into my deck. But I actually realized that I do not run the regular, I think it's called Wild Wingman, Elemental Hero Wild Wingman. I don't run that one. It just doesn't feel like a good card to run in this deck. Everyone should run a Mirror Force, that is a given. Vicious Claw, I've not been able to use the effect of this at all, so I might take it out soon. I don't know what I'm gonna replace it with though, so that's a deal breaker right there. Above that, you can see that there's a Dark Calling. It's like Dark Fusion, or at least in this case, Miracle Fusion, except that it can be used in the hand and the graveyard to banish my monsters, to fusion summon a Fiend type fusion monster. Mainly my evil heroes, which I actually think is a better suit. Jar of Avarice. I honestly don't know about this card. I was thinking of running it in lows and normals. I was thinking of running it in my ice barriers. There will be videos on those decks later on. But it mainly just gives me like, sure, I get at least 5 of my cards back and then I draw 1 card. But isn't there like a card that can get you like 5 cards from your graveyard, shuffle 3 cards? I forgot which one it was. Something with you draw 3 cards. I know that for a fact. Let's see what else. Miracle Fusion, right next to it. That is my Dark Calling for my Elemental Heroes. So I can just like bring out, I don't know, Ocean. I mean, not Ocean. Absolute Zero. I could bring out Rampart Blaster. Basically, any Elemental Hero fusion that I can think of. And ironically enough, this being an evil hero deck, I run a lot of light monsters. So I should run double the Shining, just to be safe. But the Shining's coming soon, so that's good. Draining Shield. See, this is another card that's just a given that you should run. Just for the, like, if they get a monster, like for example, the highest amount I've ever gotten out with Dark Gaia was at least in the 9000s, which would also mean 9000s. Say if I were to attack someone with that much attack, they would literally have more life points than when they started. Like, I'm not just talking about like if they did it at 800, like if I were to get 90 at least 9700 out on the field, and they did that and they still had 8000, then it's still, they would still have more. They would still have more than when they started. Magic Cylinder, another card that's basically a given. You see a lot of people run this card, but you never really see them use it. And I am a believer that if they attack, you should activate. No matter the cost. Even if you think that it's going to at least cost you something. Like, if they have Ice Edge on the field, which I'm actually trying to order. If they have Ice Edge on the field, they inflict battle damage, I would stop that shit right then and there. Another Dark Calling, so I run 2 of them. And I run 2 Dark Fusions. Elemental Hero Ocean. I mostly use them for Absolute Zero. But sometimes I will try and at least get his effect out to bring a monster back to my hands. No one ever lets me do it, so I don't know. Infected Male. I mostly use this with Voltic to get my banished materials back. Unfortunately, Voltic goes to the graveyard after that. It's just level 4 and lower, can attack directly, stuff like that. Sometimes I'll even use it with Clayman, who only has 800 attack. But it could be a game changer. Kagetoko, I mentioned earlier with Goblinberg. Evil Hero, Malicious Edge. Now, the key to this is basically Malicious Fiend. And it could also be used with Dark Gaia. So that's a really good addition to the thing. I run as swords, but lately in duels, people have been either MSTing my swords, aciding my swords. If you don't know what aciding means, it means mass changing into mass hero acid. I've also had my sword shuffled into the deck first turn. So, thinking of taking that out, but it actually saved me in one of my previous duels, so kind of considering leaving it in. Voltic, I actually only run one, even though it would be good to run two, because attacking directly, getting a banished monster back each time, that can be used to recycle Dark Gaia over and over and over again. Percentatrix and Avion, I'm actually going to do two for this one. I don't run two of either of them. I used to, but it just took up space and I never really got why I would ever summon Infernal Wing. Until now, and like if someone takes control of my Dark Gaia. And I used to run Phoenix Enforcer. Because cannot be destroyed by battle, switch it to defense mode as soon as it's special summon. Boom. Got something that cannot be get off the field unless it's by card effects. MST, and another given. Still looking for Twin Twisters, but I'll be happy to go with just MST. Evil Akira, Infernal Gainer. What this does is if you can banish this card and another Fiend type monster that you control can attack twice. Now think of Dark Gaia with 9400 attack, or 97 if you're like me and go for the highest ones, can attack twice. That's game. And then there's another game. So basically you just won two duels right there. So that's good. Belial, Marquis of Darkness, one of my highest ranking fiends that are in Fusion. I love it. I never really tribute summon it anymore. But the fact that I just use it for fusion material is good enough for me. Because I can use it with Malicious Fiend, I can use it with Dark Gaia. There was another card I thought I could use it with, but apparently that's not true. Prisma. Now, I really recently found out that Prisma can only take the name of the card. So I can only use it for fusions like if I wanted to take the name of Malicious Edge in Malicious Fiend's requirements. Infernal Wing, Wild Cyclone, Rampart Blaster, which is actually just an elemental hero monster. Infernal Sniper, Malicious... Oh, I already said Malicious Fiend. Lightning Golem, and that's just about it. Fusion Conscription, I use to get one of my fusion materials to my hand so that I can Dark Fusion and Dark Calling. Whichever one I want to do. Or if I want to poly, for that matter. Wall of Disruption, right here. I really don't think that this card gets enough credit, because I've used this so many times. Maximum being at least 4,000 attack loss, I believe. That all their monsters are in attack position, and they have 5 monsters on the field. I always run one. At least one. Because that is the greatest way to screw over your opponent. Because as far as I'm concerned, I have not really seen a monster other than Dark Gaia whose attack has been more than 4,000. So, if you use a Wall of Disruption, you can basically shut down a lot of attacks, and it's a permanent effect, so it's a really good card, but doesn't get as much credit as it should. One Clayman, I really only run Clayman for either Rampart Blaster or Infernal Sniper. How do I put this? You never want to summon Clayman in attack mode unless you're using Infected Mail, because you already know it's going to the graveyard at some point, so you might as well do it on your own terms. And you can then use it to Dark Calling if you have Dark Calling in your hand, or you can just leave it in your hand and Dark Fusion, because that's also a good strategy. Speaking of Dark Fusion, I have 2 right here. Obviously, it's because I like to do it like a poly and then do it like a Miracle Fusion, but for evil heroes. I run 1 Reinforcement of the Army. I think that you can only run either 1 or 2. I can't remember if I'm thinking of Reinforcement of the Army or Warrior Returning Alive. One core is the Emissary of Darkness, because if I get hit with a high enough attack, I can also special summon the card. Or if I get hit with effect damage, which I think Magic Cylinder does translate battle damage into effect damage, so I can inflict the same amount of damage, or at least half to my opponent. I have to read over the effect later on. Up here, as you can see, I read Valkyrion, and Valkyrion is the highest rock type I own. So Dark Gaia be damned if I don't using or Dark Calling with Dark Gaia. With Valkyrion. And I run one poly for my elemental heroes if I don't have Miracle Fusion, Parallel World Fusion, or Dark Fusion or Dark Calling. Going on to my extra deck, I have Absolute Zero, basically for nuking purposes. 2 Dark Gaias for the duplication effect, because I recently found out that you can use Dark Gaia to fusion summon Dark Gaia, because Dark Gaia is a fiend, and you could also, like, if you Dark Fusion at least Belial and Valkyrion, that's like 66. It's somewhere in the 60s. I think it's like 65 or something. And then you can Dark Calling that Dark Gaia to bring out your next Dark Gaia for like 90, 100 attack, 9,000. One Kragorgan, Karen, or I don't know how to pronounce it. Anti-Luminescent Knight. It's a rock type with 2450 attack and 1950 defense. It's a really good card. It's a rock type, so I can also use that for Dark Gaia. I run 2 Infernal Ciphers, one over here, one over here. What it does is when it's in defense mode, I can literally just deal burn damage during my standby phase. 2 Malicious Fiends, one over here, one over there. It takes Malicious Edge and a level 6 or higher Fiend monster, so literally Gores or Belial. I run 1 regular Gaia, for the fact that I have a lot of Earth monsters in this deck. I'm not entirely sure why. I run 2 Wild Cyclones, because if I summon it and then I attack, my opponent can activate traps or spells, or at least monster effects, or anything that can basically stop it. So, and when it does deal battle damage, it destroys their entire back row anyway. So that's pretty much good. What else? Excruciato? Mostly because if I have a dark monster in my graveyard, or on the field, I can fusion summon it to get Excruciato on the field. Because all my evil heroes are dark, with the exceptions of Dark Gaia, Infernal Sniper, Cyclone, Lightning Gull. Okay, so none of my evil heroes are dark types. Okay, then. Moving right along, Infernal Wing. Say someone takes control of my Dark Gaia with 9,700 attack. What this card does is, I think it can switch the monster into defense mode, and then, because Dark Gaia has 0 defense, because the defense doesn't go through, I could literally just destroy it right then and there. And deal damage while I'm doing it. And, in accordance with piercing damage, it also inflicts damage to the, due to the highest, which one ever is higher, either the attack or defense. So, Dark Gaia can literally be used as a threat or as a sacrifice. And 1 Rampart Blaster, because it's Resenatrix and Clayman, which I could also do with Infernal Sniper. So if I banish Clayman and Resenatrix, I can get them both back. So that is my evil hero deck, and I appreciate you watching this video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and tell me what decks that you run so that I can get a better understanding of how to duel. And I will see you all later. Goodbye.